Welcome back to the Vietnamese Ghost Stories channel. Thank you for always accompanying, supporting, and coming back to listen to the creepy, spine-chilling stories that the channel brings every night. Today, we will embark on a new story, a haunting journey where the boundary between life and death becomes fragile, where just a breeze is enough to give people goosebumps. The story begins like this. I don't know if it's because fear overwhelms my spirit or what, but the wind here feels colder, deadlier, and darker than ever. It blows across my hair, down my back, then quickly over my shoulder as if an invisible hand is touching. Put on your headphones, lock the door, and listen to the content of this story. It is now November. My hometown is in the rice harvest season. From young to old, everyone is busy with their own tasks. Adults do big things. Children do small things. From the fifth watch of the morning until the western corner of the sky is dark, the sun sets behind the mountains. Everyone works quickly to have time to clean the house, buy clothes for Tet, but more importantly, to have time to go to the theater. Every year, about 2 to 3 weeks before Tet, there are usually many theater troupes from the district and province coming to my village. They often perform plays such as The Sword Road of Nguyen Ba, Lan and Diep, Ngoi Tin Tren Chin Trun, Dem Lan Chua Huang. At the banyan tree at the village entrance near the house of the landlord, Tam. And then the harvest season is over. Every night after dinner, we, the three-headed children, ask our parents to let us go to the dike to catch fireflies. But in fact, I sneak out with them to watch the theater. The opera troupe's arrival here made the space here more lively than ever. The sound of the drums, the sound of the trumpets, the singing of the main and secondary actors, the sound of selling rice paper, rice cakes, the sound of Mrs. Bay inviting customers to drink. Those sounds we could only hear in the morning, so now we felt quite excited. I wish every day could be like this, so that the village would be bustling and full of light. After sitting on the rock for a while, the time for the performance had finally come. The soldiers and generals with majestic figures stepped out. The mighty and majestic king sat on the throne, surrounded by concubines and beauties. Not long after the play began, the clouds began to turn black. Rain began to fall. Big and small drops soaked into the shoulders, accompanied by lightning bolts ringing out in a corner of the gray sky, and gusts of wind blowing away the dust and sand. Seeing this, the director had to apologize to the villagers and promised to make it up for tomorrow night. We kids went home in utter disappointment, thinking that we would see heroic performances between heroes and bandits, the scene of an old mother sitting on the porch, waiting for her son to return from the battle, the scene of Tui Kio risking her life to save her father, her eyes filled with tears. My friends and I had to drag ourselves home. Halfway there, the rain stopped. The moon gradually appeared. Even though we were 7 or 8 people, everyone in the group was afraid of ghosts, even though we had never seen them, but only heard about them from relatives. The road back to the village was dark and muddy. No matter how hard we strained our eyes, we could see nothing but that vast, mysterious black space. Dew began to fall. The cold seeped through our bodies to our fingers and hair. The ground was rough, jagged with big and small stones, some of which were sharp and would only tear our skin and cause bleeding if stepped on. The way back was already difficult, and on top of that we had to pass through a cemetery where the graves were dense, crowded together like a forest of tombstones. The incense sticks of many graves had long since fallen off because no one had visited them, and also because of the rain and wind, making them even dirtier and less solemn. Some had been dug up, and it was unclear who had done it. I heard my grandmother say that these graves had been there since the French and American invaders, who had bombed and killed hundreds of people, and even under my feet, there might have been a B-52 bomb. Deep inside, the grass grew up one after another to cover the graves, and under the weak light of the moon, Everything here became even more obscure. Looking far into this wasteland, the mango and so on trees stood tall as if there were a group of tall people hiding inside, staring out. I don't know if it's because of fear or something, but the wind here feels colder, deadlier, and darker than ever. It blows across my hair, down my back, and then quickly over my shoulders as if an invisible hand is touching me. The wind makes the branches and leaves on the trees rustle. The bamboo trunks make mournful, creaking sounds, as if someone is screaming in the dark night. Suddenly, in my head, spooky scenes, ghost stories, and the ghosts my grandmother told me suddenly appeared, and I couldn't control them. So I had to bite my tongue, grit my teeth, muster up the courage to go through. No one dared to say a word to each other. Breathing was now more difficult. My chest felt like someone was squeezing it. The road ahead was dark, deep, and there was no one here, only grass and trees. Occasionally, a few distant dog howls could be heard. While walking, suddenly a sound came from the bushes behind me. As soon as I heard it, the fear of death ran down my spine. Goosebumps started to appear. Sweat poured from my forehead and back like a shower. My heart kept pounding and my breathing became more rapid. The whole group did not dare to look at each other, nor did anyone dare to turn around because everyone knew what was coming from behind. Before I could tell everyone to run, Tone immediately reached into his pocket and took out a rock as big as an adult's hand and threw it into the bush. While throwing it, he shouted loudly, "Are you a human or a ghost? If you're good, come out here." I immediately wondered to myself, what did this guy eat today to be so brave? He was usually very timid and wouldn't dare do something like that today. Right after that provocative statement, the bushes became quiet, completely different from his initial scary appearance. The whole group breathed a sigh of relief, thinking it was probably a snake or a wildcat hunting at night. I had just lifted my feet and had not yet turned around when, immediately behind me, a white shadow appeared, running across the other side of the road. The only flashlight in Bin's hand suddenly went out. I immediately shouted loudly in extreme fear, "Ghost! Ghost! Run! Run quickly!" As soon as the voice stopped, the shadow pounced. Its long black hair covered half of its face. Its white shirt obscured its legs even under the weak light of the moon. I could still clearly see the other half of its face. Its face was pale, with blue veins standing out, its head tilted to the right. Its deep, dark eyes stared at me. Its gaze was cold and deadly, no different from the wind just now. Looking at Torn, who had been so fierce and brave just now, his face was now pale as if cut without a drop of blood. The rest of the kids looked no different from him, so the whole group ran away, running with their legs above their heads. Just like that, they rushed forward. No one dared to look back. Breathing became more and more difficult. Sweat flowed profusely, and the cold wind in the desolate place blew into their bodies, making their souls and spirits even more crazy and frightened. One of them ran and cried loudly, "Mom, Mom, save me! I'm dying!" The mud on the road kept splashing into the face and body of the one running behind. Sharp iron stones and thorny branches on the side of the road cut into the flesh. Drops of blood flew back and mixed with the wind. After running for a while, they finally caught sight of a glimmer of light ahead of the road. The whole group just kept running towards it. The more they ran, the closer the light got, and the fear gradually disappeared. Suddenly, a woman's voice called out loudly, "Nam, my name is... Where are you, hiding from me to watch a show, right?" In the midst of panic and mental madness, I suddenly woke up because I knew the light ahead was my mother. Running over, I hugged my mother and cried. She saw that and knew what had happened to me, so she didn't blame me, but led me and my friends back to the village. Each of us went our separate ways, each of us covering our faces and sobbing. The next morning, I woke up, threw the blanket aside, and yawned. Suddenly remembering the terrifying scene from last night, I couldn't help but shiver. Before I could get out of bed, a voice suddenly came from the kitchen. "Nam, come down and eat some porridge, my mother." As soon as I heard it, I quickly replied, "Yes." As soon as I stepped into the kitchen, after eating a few spoonfuls, Fwok, in the group that went yesterday, rushed in to tell me urgent news. "Do you know what happened?" "What's going on at this hour? I barely woke up when you ran over." "Do you remember what happened last night?" "Yeah, I remember." "The ghost you and I met last night was fake. It was a prank by the kids from the neighboring village." After hearing that, I angrily threw the spoon on the table. Damn it, those damned bastards. What grudge did we have against them that they would play such a cruel trick on us? Okay, I will avenge our whole group. Night had fallen. The theater troupe continued yesterday's performance. This time we had to go hungry and run away from home since the afternoon to go to the cemetery. Everything was ready. Toon stole his sister's wig, Bin brought a white shirt, and I borrowed my second sister's powder box. We hid in the cemetery from late afternoon until the end of the show. Everyone went home. As expected, heaven does not disappoint those who try. The two preys finally arrived. I quickly put on the wig, used powder to make my face white, and quickly put on a shirt. That was it. These guys didn't bring flashlights or sticks. I have to admit that they were brave. Remembering last night, they were laughing happily while I was scared, having to run for my life. And the anger inside me rose. I quickly climbed up the mango tree fence in the cemetery. The other two boys hid on both sides of the road, pretending to make a dog howl that echoed throughout the space. They started to stand still, looking around from the cemetery to the bushes on the other side of the road. Taking advantage of their inattention, I jumped down from the tree. The two boys were startled, screaming and running away. But how could they run because I was holding their shirts tightly? They didn't know what to do, so they knelt down and begged, "I beg you, ghost, please forgive me. I accidentally woke up. Please forgive me. I swear I won't disturb this place anymore." I immediately let go of my hand and laughed happily, while the two boys ran away, each screaming and running. I went behind and asked Bin and Ton, "So, are you two satisfied? Am I good enough to act? Haha." Suddenly, I didn't hear any answer from anyone, so I asked loudly again. The answer to the question was the terrifying silence of this place. I thought to myself that they must have been bitten by mosquitoes, so they ran back early. Excited because I had just taken revenge on the two boys, I ran back to the well in the cemetery to look down and admire the results. I didn't expect my disguise to be so skillful. Looking down the well made my heart skip a beat, let alone them. I quickly ran back to the village, crawled through the crack under the door, climbed into bed and slept until morning. The next day, I ran to Bin and Toon's house to tell them about the scene at that time. When I got home, I saw their parents sitting on the bed, crying miserably. I ran over and asked, "Miss Nam Hong, what happened that you guys were crying so much? Where are Toon and Bin?" Miss Nam Hong said between sobs, "I'm crying because of them. They ran away since last night and still haven't come home. Where can I find them now? Oh my God, I'm so miserable." Hearing this, I jumped and ran home with anxiety and fear weighing heavily on my shoulders. I wondered where they went last night. They were so afraid of being beaten. Why did they dare to hide until now? Sitting on the bed, I suddenly remembered the well in the cemetery. I immediately ran to the back garden and asked my grandmother. She said that well had been there for a long time, my child. There was once a young girl who committed suicide because her parents chased her away because she got pregnant out of wedlock. No one in the village dared to go near that well, and that well had no water, no matter how hard it rained. My mind began to spin. My limbs were so weak that I couldn't stand. I remembered the face in the well last night. Oh my God, my mouth was stiff, my throat was choked. I fell to my knees. Drops of sweat fell onto the ground. Everything before my eyes blurred. Before I could say the next sentence, Miss Nam Hong's house was bustling with gossip. I immediately ran out the main door, straight to her house. What caught my eyes at this moment was not the image of the two brothers sitting on the ground playing hopscotch like every day. Instead, there was blood, the two dead with pale faces, drool running down both sides of their mouths. Their eyes rolled up. Both their hands and feet had many scratches, cutting deep into their flesh. The three men in the search party said that they found them lying in the bamboo bushes, their mouths full of dirt and sand. They had a hard time pulling them out, and they didn't understand how they got in. That gap was difficult for even a puppy to get in, let alone them. Their mother ran over, hugged them and cried. Her mournful cries made the whole village go silent. This was probably the most horrifying image I had ever seen. Suddenly, his father touched the two boys' necks and saw scratches, with faint letters appearing. He looked silently for a few seconds, then read aloud, "The next one is you." Everyone in the village stared at each other, not knowing who you was. But perhaps I was the one who knew best who you was. And tonight, the theater continued to perform. I was caught at home for running away 2 nights ago. The whole village had gone to watch the show. I was left alone in the house with a dark, cold space. The sound of wooden fish and chanting sutras liberated the souls of the two brothers. The wind outside kept blowing, causing the two windows to bang against each other. The candle that was burning suddenly went out. Accompanied by that was the sound of knocking on the door resounding in the night, along with a woman's shrill whispering voice.